highly regarded reporter in Germany saying that Hans Flick had a conversation of over 30 minutes, the Bayern Munich coach, with Leroy Sane about a move from City to the Bundesliga.
Yes, and there's no surprise in that, in the sense that last summer, before we got that really bad injury, there were already a lot of talks between the two clubs as well. They were negotiating over his transfer. He wanted to go back to Germany, and there's really only Bayern Munich for him if he goes back to Germany. At that time, City wanted over 100 million euros, which is something that Bayern Munich were not ready to pay. And we, a year on, pretty much, let's say, and he hasn't played yet this season because of that bad injury. But obviously, he's only 1 year away from the end of his contract at City, which means that his price has dropped significantly compared to last summer. And I think if you can get Leroy Sane, who will go back to full fitness and probably to his best or not far from his best, for 50 million euros, maybe even less than that, I think you take it. And again, he wants to go to Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich are looking for a player like him. It makes a lot of sense.
Seems to make sense, doesn't it, Craig? Seems a no-brainer.
Yeah, no, it's been in the works for quite a while, so I would not be shocked. I think it's one of the moves that, when everything opens up again, is more than likely to happen. The interesting thing in this story, if true, and we discussed it just before we came on air, was the fact that these things have broken out. You know, the fact that there has possibly been a telephone call between a Manchester City employee and a Bayern Munich employee stroke head coach, which is breaching all the regulations of how you're supposed to go about your business. Now, if it is true, it just staggers me because, you know, we all know tapping up goes on. But surely to hell, if they've had a conversation, one of them says, listen, this can't go any further because we're not supposed to be doing this. So if I was Manchester City, I would not be particularly happy. Even though I know I'm probably going to lose the player, I don't think I would be too happy about an employee of mine under contract having a discussion with a manager at another club at this moment in time.
Jules, we know this happens, but it's incredible that this has become so public.
Yes, you're right. And it's not the first time in the last few days. We also had Jose Mourinho picking up his phone to call Thomas Meunier, and it's a different club. And Meunier is not the caliber of Leroy Sane, but it seems that those kind of things are leaked more and more now, especially when there's no football around. So we probably focus a bit more on transfer stories and what managers and players and agents are doing, which we probably shouldn't. But like Craig said, we know it's going on. It's just a shame when it goes public like this.
Final piece of transfer news. Onana pretty much saying that he's going to leave Ajax. He's enjoyed his time there, but he wants something bigger and better. That place seems to be Chelsea, Jules.
Well, it looks like Frank Lampard was not very happy with Kepa Arrizabalaga during the season. And if they're looking for a new goalkeeper, good for them. And I think Onana ticks all the boxes for Chelsea, and especially in the way Lampard would want his team to play. However, what do you do with Kepa? Because good luck if you're trying to sell after buying him for 75 million euros not that long ago, and you'll have to cut your losses for sure, regardless of where you're trying to sell him. Could he go back to Spain? I'm not sure there's many clubs right there who can afford his wages either, let alone the transfer fee. So it's one to keep in mind, and Onana will make sense at Chelsea, but kudos about what Kepa will do.
Greg, this has been a pretty expensive falling out for Chelsea.
Well, it looks like it might be. Before the season shut down, Dan, I think my understanding is Lampard made it clear to the board that he wanted Kepa out for whatever reason, you know, performances, attitude, doesn't, you know, clash of personalities, whatever. But that's okay. But if you go to the board and say that, but when you've paid the amount of money that Chelsea have for this goalkeeper, and it was a lot of money, they will want to. I'm sure they'd be quite happy to sell if they trust their manager, but they're only going to sell. And they're only going to go down that road if they get a huge chunk of that money back. I mean, it could be a potential disaster for them. So there's a little bit of battle of wills there before the shutdown between manager and board. We saw Willie Caballero playing some games. We saw Kepa coming back in. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. But what we do know is that at the moment, Chelsea are unlikely to recoup the amount of money they shelled out for the Spanish keeper.
Just a reminder to keep up to date with all the latest transfer news. You can go over to the website and click on Transfer Talk.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.